Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video. So in this one I'm creating a fold out element to my journal page using some of Dina's latest Transparencies. I think the ones with the marks on are from the pattern play pack. So I'm starting off using some mineral on my page, and I am just working on a single page, but it's going to have these fold out elements, so it's going to be quite interesting, I guess. And sometimes it's fun to add these sort of extra fold out elements. So I'm using mineral with a flat brush and just pulling that paint to the top and the bottom and trying to leave some craft space as well. This is part of the inner line stencil. Of course, I chopped it up into pieces, and I'm just using, I'm pretty sure that's carnation, yes it is, through the stencil, and just adding some lines of stenciling onto my page using the blending tool as well. Okay, this is another part of the inner line stencil, and here I've just mixed some orchid along with the carnation, and just to make a nice paler pink colour, and then I'm just using the excess paint around the edge of the page just to kind of pull that paint colour out to the edges of my page. And then I've blotted off the excess and I'm just gently rubbing that sponge over my page too. Then I think I might have mixed a bit more mineral in again just to create another tone, and I'm adding some more stencil with another part of the inner line stencil too. So I'm just building up the layers and the pattern and the colours as well. So I think so far on this page I've got mineral, orchid and carnation. So this face stamp is from the squared set. As you know, it's one of my favourites. And so I've just stamped the face onto some collage tissue paper, and going to cut it out. I'm going to cut it out of the box. So I'm going to use just the face, and then I'm going to use that as my starting point for my figure on my page. There it is. And then these are going to be like little doors, so the face is going to peep above the page. So I was just working out where it needed to be so that I could get it in the right place, so that it would work with the little doors that I'm going to add onto my page as well. So now it's dry, I'm just going in with my Stabilo All pencil and just roughly sketching out a sort of figure and hair. And this is a bit quirky. It's a bit quirky, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just a representation, isn't it? So then I'm just water activating that Stabilo All pencil. I love how these go when they get water activated. They've got such an artsy look about them. I love how it softens those lines and they bleed out in some places and not in others. So there I've got my figure. So if faces scare you, this is a great way to get a face. If you've got that squared or circled set of faces, you can just use those and use that as your face, and then create a body around that. So then that's some text collage paper from Dina as well, and I've just cut some to fit the shape of the body, and I'm going to stick that in place again using some matte medium. So I have to be careful not to get it too close to the edge where I've put the Stabilo pencil, because of course it will just activate it again. It will set it working because it is a liquid, so need to be a little bit careful not to smoosh it onto my collage paper. Then I decided I wanted some colour on these pieces of transparency, so rainbow colours it had to be. And I am just working across each of these pieces, adding my rainbow colours. So I've gone ruby, tangelo, lemon. Then I'm pretty sure that I use lime. I usually do. I usually do when I create rainbows. Lime, yeah, lime. Then turquoise. And finally orchid. So I am working on the back of the transparency. That's where I'm adding the colours. I'm using some white dotty washi tape to stick these in place. You can just as easily use clear tape if you want to, works just as well. And I have discovered that if you use clear tape, you can add paint over the top of it as well. So then you can almost disappear the way that you fastened it in. So I'm just using these pieces of transparency a little bit like a bit of a gate fold, I suppose. One bigger, one smaller, so they overlap. And just create that kind of hidden aspect to the page too, which creates that little bit more interest. So then I'm using my stamp that I designed for Funky Fossil, produced by Funky Fossil for me. There still are a couple of these available on my website if you want to go and have a look. The set that it's with is called Art Journal Marks. And then I'm just adding some white ones in as well, just as a bit of a contrast. And I'm just pulling those out across onto the piece of transparency as well. It just helps that become a bit more part of the page rather than just an add-on. And then I've found a quote from the ledger papers. As I've said so many times, there are so many quotes on those ledger papers. You can always find something that just works perfectly. And I'm just using my little fine applicator tip bottle here with my tweezers just to stick these little pieces in. It's much easier than faffing about with a glue stick, particularly when these pieces are so small and you end up sticking them to your fingers and all sorts. So it can become a bit of a juggling act. So I'm just sticking these in using a bit of this clear glue. The brand of the glue it's called Collall. It's C-O-L-L-A. And then I'm just going to add a heart onto the edge of that top door. So I've cut a spare piece of ledger paper up into a heart and I'm just adding a bit of scribble stick onto there, and I'm going to water activate it and just pull that colour across a little bit and then blot some of the excess off. And then glue it into place onto some craft paper, cardstock, cut it out. That's just to make it a little bit firmer so it's not quite as wifty as it would be if it was just on the ledger paper, because it's not very thick. Makes that a little bit sturdier. And then I think, oh yeah, just outlining it with a couple of sketchy lines. And then that gets stapled in place. Don't forget to push down the back of your staples just so they don't catch you. Just do that with the flat blade of my scissors. And there we are, there's the finished page. So just like a little peek of what's behind with those bright, colourful transparency fold out doors. So I hope you've been inspired to have a go at creating something like this. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.